Lessons for Life from Swami Jagadatmananji's inspiring book Learn to Live. Volume 1, Chapter 1, The Hidden Truth. Infinite power is hidden within every one of us. Wisdom at 3 years and children's improvement. In this episode, Swami Jagadatmananji discusses the important aspects of children's education. When exactly a child starts learning, how to ensure that our children get man-making, character-building, nation-building education is discussed here. Now let us listen to Swami Jagadatmananji's own words on this important subject. Wisdom at 3 years. A mother once met an expert educationist and asked when she should start giving education to her child. The expert asked the mother how old the child was. The mother replied, "Only 3 years." "Oh, already 3 years. Haven't you started her education yet? Go home and start on it forthwith. You have already wasted 3 years." Psychologists say that an infant starts learning the moment it has seen the light of the world. Elders in our country say that an infant starts learning even when it is in the womb of the mother. In other words, it starts responding to the joys and pains, tastes and feelings of the mother. Accordingly, its personality and character get molded. A child deprived of mother's love and care loses some important elements needed for the development of its personality as an adult. Hence, the many wise statements like child's school is at home, elders' behavior is children's copybook. What is learnt at 3 lasts to 100. Emphasize the responsibility of parents and the importance of the home environment in molding the mind of a child. We seem to think that education is just acquiring the skills of reading and writing. But if we ponder over the way in which a child learns its mother tongue, we get some knowledge of the mechanism of learning. The child learns everything by imitation. It hears the utterances of the parents, of brothers and sisters, slowly repeats the sounds and starts speaking the language. The child imitates not just the spoken words. It imitates every form of behavior and action of its parents and elders. It absorbs the interests, inclinations, prejudices, affirmative or negative feelings, fanaticism or extreme views about religion. Not many are aware of the tremendous importance of elders in molding the future of the child at home. Children's growth, children's improvement. These days, parents do not hesitate to spend money on the education of the children. It is natural for them to dream of a glorious future for the children. But do they bestow enough attention on what kind of thoughts and feelings children entertain during their schooling, what kind of habits they cultivate? Children who have acquired the skill of reading are influenced more by films and books that present human weaknesses in a graphic and absorbing manner than by thoughts and ideas which really help fight the battle of life. It can be safely guessed that they hardly ever turn to books which contain an account of the life and achievements, thoughts and messages of scientists, great men, social workers, men of action, patriots and spiritual men who depend on the divine for their sustenance and guidance. It is a great misfortune that our children at the best stage of their development are denied the elements which are needed for the growth of character. It reflects the helplessness or the lack of foresight on the part of the so-called educationists and parents. Only those who know the importance of the role of good habits in the formation of good character, good thoughts and good culture can understand the full import of these words. Habits are initially like the flimsy fibers of a spider's web, but as time advances, they become as strong as fetters of steel and hold us within their grip. It is extremely necessary to cultivate good habits right from our childhood. What is the most important of all habits? It is the cultivation of the necessary caution and care needed for us to cultivate good habits and keep ourselves away from bad ones. Just a basic trust in goodness and a decision to become good are not adequate to make us good or to free us from all kinds of error. It is more important to break the bone of the bad habits that we have already formed. An individual will have gathered the habits by the time he is between 20 and 30 years of age, which are related to intellectual development and professional advancement. It is said that habits regarding personal hygiene, speech and pronunciation, gesture, emotional expressions, gait, etc. are formed even before a person becomes 20 years old. Could the young but realize how soon they will become mere walking bundles of habits, they would give more heed, more attention to their conduct while in the plastic stage. We are spinning our own fates, good or evil, it never to be undone, says the psychologist. It is evident that parents and children should devote attention to the formation of cultural and spiritual values, moral and ethical values, in addition to cultivating the skills in the 3 arts, reading, writing, and earning. A senior teacher who had served at a boarding school for long years, giving an account of his experience, said, "I asked an old student of our boarding school, who after a 5-year stay here had passed an examination with a good grade and now was a well-placed professional. 'My dear boy, what was it that you learnt in the school which you wouldn't have learnt in another?' The old student replied, 'Sir, to be frank with you, in the past I had been used to taking bath once in 3 or 4 days. Now I can't be without a bath even one single day. The awareness that it is good to take a daily bath doesn't by itself lead to the habit of taking a bath. Once a person has repeated the practice over long years of taking bath every day, it becomes a well-established habit. If elders instill this habit in children, it remains a firm habit. Having been in a boarding school, I had an opportunity of observing students coming from different backgrounds, their aptitudes, abilities, and attitudes. Once I was surprised by the way in which new students brushed their teeth in the morning. When they applied the paste on the brush and brushed the teeth vigorously, producing a hard metallic sound, it looked as though they were trying to remove a layer of moss from the crest of a rock with a quantity of sand. Some brushed the teeth so hard that even the gum starts bleeding. I explained to them, with the help of a skull with all the teeth intact, how food particles get lodged between the teeth and how, with the help of a suitable manipulation of the brush, they could be removed. I illustrated the use of the brush in a variety of ways to clean every part without hurting the gum. I examined their method of brushing for 3 days and ensured that they followed the instructions. Many still clung to their old habits. Keep your teeth clean. This exhortation by itself will not induce children to cultivate the habit of brushing their teeth. It will be necessary to make our exhortation effective, to show them how to keep the teeth clean, to persuade them to do so, sometimes by gentle, affectionate advice, sometimes by tactful warning, to teach them the correct method of cleaning the teeth till the habit properly sets in. A student of a professional college said the following about one of his experiences. I suggested that, for the purpose of economizing, we could wash our own plates, bowls, and spoons, which could help dispense with the services of servants. This would reduce the expenses. But I was ridiculed for my suggestion, which they dismissed as impracticable. That was the reaction of his friends when, during a discussion with the members of the students' executive committee, he made a suggestion about the problems of managing the staff. In our country, most of the so-called educated people have developed an attitude of looking down upon any kind of manual work. A boy who returned to school after spending the summer vacation at home had this to say to the elders in the hostel in a tone of honesty. Sir, this time, when I went home, I did not forget to flush the commode before and after using it. He had definitely taken a big step in translating into practice the elementary principles of cleanliness and in helping the formation of a proper atmosphere for the cultivation of good character, personal and public cleanliness, obedience, punctuality, regularity, participation in programs in a spirit of cooperation, showing respect to elders, sympathy, modesty in behavior, offering hospitality to guests, unreserved appreciation of what is good. The cultivation of these virtues and habits requires some guidance from men of experience and insight. An education which does not help mold the traits necessary for the welfare of not only the individual but also of the society in general is going to be dangerous in addition to being incomplete. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.